Hey, yo, Jay, can we get some ratchet one time?
Look, I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft. All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the stop, I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the please. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peace, you gon' see the flex when you hear these writtens. Trust me, you know the difference. I got a long ways to climb before you see a slippage. I see the process and the journey I'm supposed to be, but perplexed, cause I don't really see nobody close to me. Hopefully this ain't wasted and I know it ain't. You gotta take the time for seasoning to marinate. You need the patience under pressure just to detonate. I'm trying to blow up and these heathens need to get it straight. Gifted with a vision and precision, I'm just trying to make it high key. Might be breaking free like I was Zion in some Nikes. Tucked at the crib, bro, you know just where to find me. Making beats and spitting crack verses pretty likely. Yeah, socks with the burst, boy, I ain't changed a bit. Normal guy till I die, you know what it is. You probably thought I'd give up now that I got some kids, but really nah, I got these arrows aiming at your ribs. I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft. All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the stop, I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the plays. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peas. Hey, please be on the notice, these my motives. Bought my chicken and it's rotis. You parsimonious, you take it all cause you a locust. My focus is to grow this mission. A visionary, get a dictionary. We here off the rip and we ain't sharing, we just caring. Let me speak it to the manager. We damage her, no you ain't messing with an amateur. I'm ramming, the competition ain't standing up. They fanning from left to right cause now they branded us. Now who that is? Mike Jones, they ain't want me now, they all on me. Got counterfeits trying to play me, I guess they thinking I'm Sony. These big head dummies showing up and out of their character. Homie, you need a price cause without it the squad ain't hearing you. Top of that, we ain't fearing yet. We swinging for the fences with the sting of a left hook that connects with Sonny Liston. I'm dismissing any and all of the disrespect. Nonetheless, it ain't a threat, I'm just letting y'all know who's next. I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft. All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the start, I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the plays. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peas, you gon' see the...
What's next for me, Joe? I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Space shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, though they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in mine, yeah. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late. Seen them down bad, now they tryna hate. Same ones try to hit me for the raise. Got a mill, now they coming with a blaze. Check the numbers, fam, I swear I'm getting paid. I'm a Don just like the Perrier. It's my time when I'm looking at a face. On the low like I'm pushing check and I buy myself a place. They get some money and they blow it on bait. I don't flex, but I'm pushing all the weight. Told them all, I swear I got it's what it takes. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it now, I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go. On the road, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Except for yesterday, guys. I got stuck at the dealership yesterday. I was getting Mrs. Candles a car, and we got stuck there, guys. Unfortunately, couldn't go live yesterday, but guys, we got a lot to talk about on Bitcoin today, as we are continuing to kind of trend to the upside, kind of, but we are battling an extremely key level of resistance. You guys know we have that macro value area high. We just slipped below it once again. Are we finally going to get that bigger pullback? We actually have some bullish signs on Market Cypher B, as well as some higher time frame bearish signals. I'm going to go over everything with you guys. We'll give you the bearish case, the bullish case, and I'll let you guys know which way I'm leaning and how I am personally handling this price action within my own trading plan. So shout out to the CandleMafia. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in and spending your precious time here with your boy Frankie Candles and the CandleMafia, the best crypto community out there in the world. This the best YouTube community in the world, not just crypto, guys. But shout out to the CandleMafia. What is going on, guys? We got Golden Child in the chat. We got Jesse, our like police, guys. Don't forget to smash that like button. Every 100 likes we get gives you guys some extra chances to win some free crypto. Or if we hit some like goals this week, hopefully Bitcoin does something. We get some like goals in here. We'll give away some Frankie Candles hats. Maybe we'll give away some Solana. But shout out to Derelict. What is going on, man? Welcome in. We got Nirvana in the chat. K Diggity, as always. Phoebe says hi. Let's go. Shout out to K Diggity. We got Mark Dutch in the chat. Yo, shout out to Mark Dutch. Says Frankie doesn't need a doctor. His sister is a vet. Shout out to Mark Dutch. That is actually true. My sister is a veterinarian. But let's see here. Yo, shout out to Vegas Claw. Vegas Claw. Yo, Vegas, dude, you get me cracking up with these things. Says Frankie's the type of guy. Where to go? Frankie's the type of guy to cancel a doctor's appointment because he's sick. Shout out to Vegas Claw. But yeah, let's see. shout out to Vegas Call said, Frankie gives you wings. No need for coffee, baby. We don't got the coffee, guys, but we do have the Aztec and Cactus Moss Water today. Need a little pick-me-up here for this price action. But, guys, we got a lot to look at on the chart today. Fedbomb said, can you give away USDC as Sol is going down? Shout out to Fedbomb. Yeah, we could probably give away USDC. We used to give away XRP, and then it just wound up getting too confusing because people needed collateral in their wallets. But, yeah, we can switch. Maybe we'll switch it up. Maybe we'll start giving away some USDC. It's probably the easiest way to do it. Let's see. Shout out to Crimson. Welcome in. Crimson said, I am kicking back with the pen. Interesting. Shout out to, he's got his notepad and his pen out. Shout out to Crimson. What is going on? And zone out in the chart. Shout out to Crimson. Let's go, baby. BTC fighting like a boxer. Yeah, Eddie, absolutely. Bitcoin is fighting that key level of resistance that we have here at that value area high. So without further ado, guys, I don't want to waste too much time here. Let's go ahead and jump on into the charts and break down Bitcoin's next move so the Candle Mafia is ready, whether it pumps or dumps. Let's get into it. Excuse me. So here we are, guys, on the Bitcoin chart, and as you guys know, I'm going to start here kind of like giving an overall update here on the price action, guys. Obviously, we got the rejection from $112,000 at the new all-time high. We got that drop to the downside, and I will pull up our current macro range here. Obviously, this previous all-time high at 109,880 was a big deal as we did come back down, bearishly retested. I am still holding my short position from that level. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Bada boom, bada bing. Still holding this. Drop this in the market update. Still holding this short position. Stop loss in profit here, guys, over on Femex. So I am going to continue to hold this in case we do get the bigger retracement to the downside, as we do have some of those bearish signs sitting on Market Cypher B on those higher time frames. So we will... Yeah, I'm going to break it down, but I am short here from that previous all-time high here, guys. This not only was a previous all-time high, but also a golden pocket 786 retracement. When we're looking for lower highs, guys, that is the area for it to do it. And we came back down, bearish retest into the golden pocket 786, and we did get the lower high and the lower low to come in. And then we came into our support zone down here that we had between the golden pocket and the 786 from the low to the high here. We had the golden pocket, the 786, and guys, we lost this 786, and we had one more level underneath this that we were looking at, sitting there near this daily naked, or not near, but on this daily naked point of control, sitting at about 103.84, and we did get that drop down on Friday night for that push into that daily naked point of control. And we are literally bouncing. You can see the reliability of these MPOCs, guys. We tapped it, and we got that push back to the upside. But we are obviously, even though we got this bounce, guys, you always have to be aware that, you know, when you're underneath this macro value area high within our larger range, let me just clean up the chart here. You know, even if we got this bounce, we were talking about how you do have to be very, very careful around this value area high, because sure, you could look for the bounce at the daily MPOC, but once you come up to that value area high, it is likely to offer you a bit of resistance. We tried to get out, we got rejected. We tried to get out again, got rejected, and then today we sweat this high and wound up getting another push, and we are finally back down below this value area high, which is just generally, guys, you know, we could play around with this level, and I'm going to show you some of the things I'm looking at on Market Cypher B. Right now, I am just chilling in my short position, waiting for a bigger move down or a bigger move up, and I'm going to show you guys the exact levels that I'm looking at to the upside. We covered them briefly on the live stream, but I want to go a little bit more in depth today here, in the market update. I covered them. I want to go deeper in the live stream on these. But just overall context here, guys, to keep things nice and simple, this macro volume profile is going to be absolutely key. If we are unable to break decisively above this macro value area high, and we cannot bounce off of any of this local support that we have down below. Obviously, that MPOC was one of those levels. We do have a couple more levels I want to talk about underneath us, but if we're unable to hold these levels, guys, and we do get stuck underneath this, it does potentially open that door, as we looked at on the live streams last week, down to that $96,000 to $97,000 zone, towards that POC of the range. Based off the volume profiles, you get stuck under that value area high. The next place for price to likely go is that POC, and then once you lose that POC, we could potentially look down towards the value area low. Now, I'm not calling for a $90,000 Bitcoin, but I am going to show you guys some of the things that I'm looking at that, you know, does potentially put this in the cards, right? Again, not saying that I have to go down to 90K, but I want you guys to be aware of this. We covered these higher time frame support levels at the POC and the value area low on Friday's live stream. And, you know, we're just attempting. We really, if we want more upside, guys, we have to get a break out of this. We have to hold the value area high as support. And even if we do that, even if we do that, we do have some key resistance above as well, guys, just like we were looking for that lower high here. You know, the trend is your friend until the end. We do have the high, the low, the lower high, the lower low. Are we just going to put in a lower high here? We already did reject a local Fibonacci retracement, which is a possible place to put that lower high in, but there are some bigger levels in case we do get a bigger move up. Even if we push into about $108,000 to $109,000, there are some key levels here that we could still put in more lower highs to continue the bigger trend to the downside. Now, hopefully we don't have to deal with that. We'll have to assess the price action as it develops, as we push up here. But I'm going to break down all those levels for you. But just in the general context of things here, anytime we live below that value area high, guys, it does get a little bit suspicious. It's like, oh, man, we really got to get above this. And I will say, right, if we do, I'll cover a little bit of the bullish case, I guess we could call it. I will cover that briefly right now, and then I will, hey, Mrs. Candle's hand is here. I will cover the bullish case real quick, and then we'll go over the lower levels and kind of the bearish signs on Market Cipher B. Actually, we're going to start off with the bearish case just because those signs are on the higher time frame. So we're going to start here doing that top-down analysis, starting here on the weekly time frame, guys. Something we have to be aware of. VWAP on its way to the downside here on the weekly. Curving down, coming towards that zero line. We did not print the red dot over the weekend, which is, at least we didn't get it yet. But that VWAP is definitely trending down here, looking for a potential red dot. And last week, we were talking about how we do have the higher highs on our price action, giving us a potential weekly bearish divergence if we do wind up printing that red dot. And then when you start to look at this in the context of the macro volume profile, it's like, hey, we deviated above the high, we swept the all-time high, and we have bearish divergences, and that is why, this is specifically why I do not want to get stuck under this value area high, because when we look at this, it's kind of like, sweep of liquidity, right, above that previous all-time high. We have the weekly bearish divergence. We also have a potential slight monthly bearish divergence. This is not printing just yet. If we get a red dot here, this is going to take a lot of time to develop. But, technically this, is a lower high on our momentum wave here. If we do get that red dot at some point, you will have a monthly bear div as well. So, those are kind of the bear signs here. Weekly red dot, if it does print, getting stuck under that value area high is going to be a little bit more bearish. And that is why I am looking to hold my short position here with my stop loss and profit in case we do continue that downtrend. I do want to capitalize on the continuation down, right? Because we don't just make money when price goes up, guys. The CandleMafia makes it in both directions, which is absolutely beautiful. But deviation above the high, bearish confirmations on the higher time frames, sweep of liquidity of the all-time high, definitely in the cards to get a bigger retracement here if we get that weekly red dot. We also have the 6-day VWAP on the way to the downside as well, eerily close to printing that red dot. And then we come on down to the 5-day. We do have that 5-day red dot printing. We have about a day and 3 hours to confirm that. So again, I cannot stress the importance of getting above that value area high and flipping it to support because of these reasons, right? It's not just that this is a random level of resistance that we want to get above. It has everything to do with the context of the market and, why I would feel much more bearish if we can't get above it, right? Then you start to think of the laws of the volume profile. It's like, well, hey, if we start coming down here, we get that weekly red dot. What are the chances that we're going to get a bounce off our local levels of support here? They get less and less as those higher time frame bearish divergences and red dots start to print, right? Now, again, I don't want to cause fear here at all. I don't want anyone to think of like, oh my God, it's all over. But, we're just looking at the information here and taking what we can from it. And yeah, getting above that value area high is going to be absolutely key. It does sit at about $105,846. And then again, in the long term, 3-day money flow also tanking to the downside here. This is something we've been keeping an eye on. If that money flow crosses into the red, oh man, if that money flow crosses into the red on the 3-day, guys, you would have to anticipate the trend is likely to continue to the downside, right? Unless we get some kind of a fake out here, this is definitely trending down, which is just generally a bearish sign. You also do have the technically a confirmed bearish divergence here on the 3-day as well. And again, this doesn't mean that the bear market is here necessarily, but again, you just have to be prepared for price to get that bigger correction in case these do wind up playing out. And again, even if we do come down to some of these deeper levels, 96 to 97K, even, $90,000 down at that value area low, these are areas where we could potentially get bigger bounces and potentially come up to new all-time highs. But again, it really is going to depend on what price action looks like down there. But we do have a lot of support, and we have that beautiful volume profile giving us that guide each step of the way, letting us know, lose that value area high. We know where that next likely place for price to go in the long term is going to be. Praying, right? And you might be saying, well, Frankie, what the heck could the bullish news be if you just covered all this stuff? It looks pretty bearish. But, if we take a look at the daily here, excuse me, take a sip of that Aztec and cactus moss water real quick. But if we do look here, earlier today, guys, we did have this green dot printing on the daily, which was somewhat nice. It was somewhat nice only because we did have that 90-minute money flow crossing over into the green at the same time. And let's just remember here, we are technically in a little bit of an uptrend here locally. So, can we still play around with this level? Bitcoin does seem pretty indecisive at this resistance. So again, just because we're stuck under here right now does not mean that we're guaranteed to get the move down. But again, anytime you live under this level, you just have to be aware of that kind of bearish scenario as you're getting accepted potentially into that lower area of value. But 90-minute money flow crossover into the green with that daily green dot. unless we start pumping soon, I don't know if we're going to print that green dot before the daily close, but earlier today, this did look like, maybe we could get that continuation up locally off that daily green dot and that money flow crossover on the 90-minute. And if we do end up getting that again, guys, I do want to talk about, we have some really, really, really key resistance above. Even if we do get a move to the upside, I am going to be interested in potential continuations down on lower highs, because we do have those Fibonacci retracement levels that I'll bring up in just a second. That could be the area where we're going to put that lower high in at. So again, for me personally, I am chilling in my short right now. If we get stuck under here and we get the dump from here, beautiful. I will continue to capitalize on that move to the downside. If we get the push to the upside, I want to talk about that kind of situation right now. But again, just if you walk away with anything from this live stream, just understand that $105,846, that macro value area high, is the most important level to get above as of right now. And then I will cover the line in the sand. If we're going to look for new all-time highs, where is that level going to be? I will cover that as well. If you guys missed that market update earlier today, I went over that level, but I'll go over it again today on the live stream. However, before we talk about the move to the downside, let's just go ahead and cover if we get the move. If we do get the move down, I want to cover some of these local levels of support. Now, obviously, as I just mentioned, we did get that bounce from the daily naked point of control here. Funny enough, we do have another daily MPOC that is just underneath that, sitting at about 102,986. So these are. Could you come down and bounce off these? Yes. I will be looking at these, but to be quite honest, if we do come back down, I'm much more interested in coming down below this low at about 103K and sweeping some of the liquidity we have sitting underneath it. If we pull up that heat map, you guys can see here starting at about 103,000. We do have a hot spot of, liquidation sitting below that low. And if we do go down there, right, I will be looking at the market through the lens of our local scalp range down here. We've covered this on the live stream a few times now. If we do wind up coming back down, let me come to a lower time frame just to make it a little more visible here. I'll hide the macro volume profile. So let's assume we do get the move down first. I will be looking at this value area low sitting at about $102,500 as our next key level. And I'm just going to use this previous volume profile as a guide for price, right? Price comes back down, gets stuck below the high, go to the POC, lose the POC. Looking to come down towards that low. And like I said, because we do have that liquidity sitting below about 103K, I will be looking, if we come down there, right, sweep some of that liquidity into the value area low. Even if we deviate slightly, we do have some other liquidity sitting below about $102,000. So it's very hard to say, are we going to come down SFP that 103K wick before a big bounce, or are we going to come down, get those liquidations to push us lower? Because we all know once you get stopped out of once these long positions get stopped out, anytime we get stopped out of a long position or liquidated, creates those market sells, giving you that fuel for the big move to the downside. That's why you see those big liquidation candles. And then once you get that drop down there, are we going to get the SFP here, or is that cascade going to push us down to this lower liquidity? So we have to be very careful, because if we do not get a strong bounce after sweeping this liquidity from the value area low, we have to understand that this liquidity, if tapped, could add for more fuel to the downside, right? And then we could be potentially coming down towards about $100,000. What is this at? $100,700. This is kind of the range. This is the range low, not kind of. Is the range low of our previous area of consolidation. I will say most of the liquidity, in my opinion, just based off the heat maps, is sitting more below here and here. But technically, when you just look at this through the general lens of like how the market works, there is always liquidity sitting below and above every untouched high or low. And all these lows are going to have liquidity sitting underneath them. And I will say this one and this one do have the most visible liquidity on the heat map, but that does not mean that we don't necessarily have any sitting down here. So if we do get to push down, I'm going to be using this local volume profile as our guide to lower prices if we do wind up getting stuck under that macro value area high and we see that bigger drop down. I'm going to be interested in this as a key level of support. You have the daily naked point of control, the liquidity sitting below, and then that value area low. This range sits between 102,545 at the value area low. POC sits at about 103,700, $103,676, and then the value area high sits up at 104,490. And for me personally, guys, again, sitting in my short position for another significant long position, I would really like to come in and put in another low here. Again, into that value area low, potentially come down and sweep that liquidity. We have to understand where that liquidity is lying in the market, because we know liquidity acts as a magnet, and the closer we get, sometimes the stronger that magnet gets, and then we can assess that reaction we get as we tap into those liquidations. And these levels are kind of levels we've been looking at for quite some time, yeah, we're just kind of playing around with that massive key level of resistance, which is the value area high. So in the case that we come down first, I will be looking down here. Short will continue to pay us out. Now, another thing to realize here, guys, where we are rejecting from right now, this is kind of what I want to talk about, right? If we get the move up, let's say we reclaim value area high overnight, something like that, and we get a pump to the upside first. Are we going to all-time highs? Is the breakout of this level going to be like a significantly bullish signal for a massive rip to the upside? I think it could give us a push to the upside, but to be honest, as we were cracking above here with that daily green dot and the 90-minute money flow crossover, that was kind of our best chance to do that, and obviously that green dot is now gone, and now we're back below the value area high. But if we do come up first, obviously price can go up or down. All we can do is identify the key levels and make a trading plan to react as price hits those key levels. So again, I just covered kind of what I'm going to be looking at if we get the drop down first, and if we get a push to the upside first, I want to cover exactly what I will be looking at, because at the end of the day here, guys, I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of 50-50 here whether we're going to get accepted into this range or continue up, because again, we have the high time frame red dots, etc. What we just went over briefly just before, but that 90-minute money flow crossover into the green is not looking too bad, right? We also have the 2-hour money flow attempting to come up here, so this is another money flow crossover we can look at to potentially anticipate a continuation up. And again, locally, this is an uptrend for the most part, so if that money flow crosses over, we could potentially anticipate this to continue, flip back on top of that value area high, and then maybe we get the bigger move to the upside. And I want to talk about what we are rejecting right now, because this is actually a level we were looking at in the premium Discord on Sunday. Over the weekend, if I pull up our upper range, let's say we get the breakout here, we hold that value area high as support, and we get the bigger move up. What are we going to be looking at? And again, I would be very careful here with those red dots on the weekly for a potential higher time frame lower high before another lower low. And the reason for that is if we pull up our key levels here, let me pull up the upper volume profile. This is the level that we were looking at on Sunday. 3 major levels of resistance, right? We have the value area low, golden pocket, confluence, right? Value area low, golden pocket. And, again, we don't know if we are going to continue this downtrend. We don't know if we're going to put in the lower high at the first fib retracement, or if we're going to put it in at, or either at the golden pocket, the 786, or if we're going to go for that full Fibonacci retracement when pulled from the high to the low. The full trend Fibonacci retracements, in my opinion, are always going to be better to look at. However, if we're going to continue this aggressive, lower high, it could potentially come in here, and there's a specific reason for that. It's because that golden pocket is sitting there, and if we're going to look for aggressive highs, lows, lower highs, and lower lows, this is the first area where we had an opportunity to do that. So that's what we're rejecting right now, which makes me a little bit concerned about coming back down to crack this low at 103K. This is definitely in the cards based off the Fibonacci retracements and the fact that we're back below that value area high. Now, if we do continue up, flip that value area high, right? Again, I would say, this is an area where you could put that lower high in at. But if we do get that, green dot to print at the end of the day here, and we get that 90-minute money flow crossover to overall continue the trend to the upside, I will be looking to come back up into this range. And this is an intermediary level. I would call this somewhat of like a local level. There are stronger resistances above. Really, all we have here is the golden pocket and the value area low. But if we look at and just to kind of show this, right? The fib retracement we're rejecting right now is this one pulled from the lower high to the low, right? Golden pocket rejection, right? But if we pull that full Fibonacci retracement from the all-time high all the way to the low, we have the golden pocket and the 786 sitting here between about $108,500 and $110,000. And I'm going to show this from just a simple Fibonacci standpoint, and then I'll bring back up that volume profile. But again, at the end of the day, if we're going to put in lows, highs, lows, lower high, lower low, lower high, this is the first area where we could put it in at. But in my opinion, if we get the move up, these are stronger levels, right? Not only is it the full Fibonacci retracement, but we also have the daily naked point of control in confluence with the POC of the range and the golden pocket retracement. And then above that, we have another bigger area of confluence. And this is really the thing, right? The reason I like this level so much more, right? These levels much more, is just because golden pocket value area low, cool, right? Golden pocket, POC, daily naked point of control. And then up here, we have a daily horizontal, a daily naked point of control, the previous all-time high, the value area high, and the 786, right? So this is much more confluent of a level of resistance, and so is this, right? So you have the full golden pocket retracement, in my opinion, bigger areas to look at, and you have much more confluence on these levels as well. It doesn't mean that you can't just put the high in here, but I will say, again, I'm just sitting in my short position, so I don't mind if we come down from here. I'll keep making money. But if we get the shot to the upside and we get back into this range, once you flip that value area low at 107,200, the next likely place for price to go is going to be that POC, and that is a much bigger area to potentially, put the lower high in and the lower low, right? Just the continuation of the trend. And generally, right, this is obviously just going to be a large zone, right? This is going to be between the golden pocket and the 786. I like to separate these levels into more tactical, like individual levels, right? Daily MPOC, right? And then we had this other level up here, 786 value area high, daily naked point of control in the daily. I'll bring that back up on the other chart in a second. But at the end of the day, right, if we're going to put in high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, this would be a big level of resistance to look at, right? Because again, if we're going to print that weekly red dot and we get the lower high here and then that weekly red dot prints, you might be in store for the bigger retracement in my own personal opinion, right? Just continuing the overall downtrend. Right? Does that make sense? We always talk about these Fibonacci retracements being the high probability areas for lower highs, and it has not changed. But just honorable mention here, we are rejecting the local golden pocket. Again, not as confluent as these bigger levels. And again, earlier today, to be honest, I was a little bit more confident, right, that we would get the continuation up. But since that daily green dot has disappeared. So we'll see if we print it. Again, if we get the move up, this is the bigger level of resistance I'll be looking at. And just to give you guys the numerical numbers here, because that's what numbers are, they're numerical. About $110,100 to $108,582. And then again, just to kind of show some of that confluence here, daily MPOC, point of control of the range. Frankie, I thought you don't like to short the middle of a range. Well, in this case, where we have a high probability lower high zone on that POC, I would be more interested in taking a short from the middle of the range, right? At the end of the day, right, I would really prefer to take that short up at the value area high, right? Because you're at the value area high of the range. This is where you want to look for shorts. But you might think like, oh, God, this is so bearish, Frankie Candles. Don't do this to me, bro. Don't do this to me. But at the end of the day, guys, we do have a line in the sand here, in my opinion, right? If we get above that 786 value area high, this is the level to get above in order to call for all-time highs. This is very similar to the 786 that we had here on the higher time frames to call for all-time highs as well, right? And that level was sitting right here at about $101,800. We knew that once we got above that level, it was very likely to get that push into new all-time highs, and that is exactly what we got. And again, it's just based off the same theory that I just showed, on a higher time frame, obviously. If you're going to get a lower high and a lower low to come in on the macro, right, it's either going to come in between the golden pocket and the 786. If you do not get it there and you get above that 786, that's where you look for new highs. And it's going to be the same thing in this situation. If we get the continuation up, and I'll clean up the upper value area here, and I'll even take off some of these previous levels of resistance, and I will just pull this Fibonacci retracement, come on from the high, pull it all the way to the low here, right? Once we get above that, get back above the value area high, push in here. Once you get above that 786, in my opinion, that is the area to hold where we can finally look into new all-time highs. But again, I am very suspicious here until proven otherwise. If we get the continuation up, which maybe the daily green dot starts to print, that 90-minute money flow gives us the continuation up, I am still going to be very skeptical around this Fibonacci retracement zone, just like we were here, right? We were very skeptical here, but what do? As price approached this key level of resistance, we analyzed what money flow was doing as we tapped in here. There was a possibility of a massive lower high here to break this low. But what happened? We came up, we had money flow crossing into the green on the daily, so at that point we know, hey, we might get some turbulence here, but money flow is calling for a higher low and a higher high, which is exactly what we got. And then once we got above that 786, we look for all-time highs. Almost the exact same situation here when you look at it through the Fibonacci standpoint, money flow standpoint. I'm just simply going to be skeptical for the lower high until we get above that 786, in my own personal opinion, right? So that's what I'm looking at. Biggest level of resistance. We do not want to get stuck under that value area high, $105,750. Almost $106K to be quite honest. So we'll see. Money flow coming up on the 2 hour, 3 hour money flow trying to come up. But really what I would like to see is that daily green dot print with that continuation of our money flow on the 90-minute. If we could do that, I do think we might be able to get back above here and continue that trend to the upside. But we got to get above that value area high. To be honest, if I had a personal preference, which I do, more often than not, guys, if you have a personal preference, the market will spit in your face. The market does not care what you want. Trust me, I've learned from experience. The market does not care what you want. It only cares about the chart. And, I would prefer a continuation down to continue capitalizing on my short position. But at the end of the day, if we flip that value area high, the price doesn't care if I want lower prices. And that money flow on the 90-minute is coming back into the green or continuing into the green. We get that daily green dot. We are probably going to get that push up. And now you guys have all the key levels. We already rejected our first key level that we were looking at in the premium. If we get above that value area low, those are the two next big levels of support. One more time, well, I'll start here at the lower price, 108,500 all the way to 109K, and then that upper level in confluence of the value area high, 109,432 and 110K. And again, I am specifically suspicious around these fib levels because of the weekly red dot potentially incoming, because of the 5-day red dot printing, because of the 6-day red dot potentially incoming as well, right? With the 3-day money flow crossing into the red, right? On top of the fact that we have the potential bearish divergences, the liquidity sweep above the previous all-time high, and that just is what it is, right? Unfortunately. But hopefully we just get the push up there and all that gets invalidated, very similar to what we saw happen here, right? Maybe we come up there, money flow comes back up, we can flip that 786 and push into new all-time highs. I don't want to get too carried away here. If we were to flip that 786, I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow or not, but if we do, right, next target to the upside is going to be between about $112,000 and $114,000, as we've been looking at for eons. So real quick, let me jump on into the chat real quick. Let's see. We will be taking a look at the altcoins today, guys. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's see. September things will be pushing to all-time highs in my honest opinion. Shout out to Marcus. I hope so. I do think, obviously, rate cuts are really going to help with this. Shout out to Crypto Billy in the chat. What is going on, brother? Welcome in. But yeah, listen, once we get rate cuts, guys, things could change really quickly. If we do get a massive retracement, which hopefully we don't have to deal with, if we do get that bigger retracement to come in, at the end of the day, we get rate cuts, things are going to change very, very quickly. And in the long term, right, when we look at the Fibonacci retracements, right, technically, not that I would want to see this. This would be a very difficult situation to navigate. Technically, we could potentially, if we just pull this volume profile once again, right, golden pocket 786 sitting here. This 786 is sitting at about $82,000. At the end of the day, if we got the big retracement down here, technically, this is even a level that you could come in and put a higher low in before continuing up, right? A lot of people thought there was going to be no higher low here, right? But we saw the bullish confirmations. We understood the levels that were sitting here. It was a 786 macro retracement. And what happens? You put the higher low in and the higher high. So until we wind up breaking that 786 at about $82,000, $83,000, once we start getting stuck underneath that, that's where we could start to look for much lower prices, potentially breaking us into that previous lower range on Bitcoin. Hopefully we don't have to deal with that. But again, just to kind of show you guys, we just had a pretty significant rip to the upside of about 50%, right? A pullback to here would not be horrible. I would prefer to get a pullback to the golden pocket rather than the 786 because this is where it starts to get a little bit fishy. But, you do have confluence with that value area low. This is typically where we're looking for long positions anyway. So, again, we get above that 786. You could still potentially put that higher low in at that level. So, even if things got really aggressive here, I wouldn't be instantly calling for a bear market. The one thing that does have me a little bit concerned is that 3-day money flow really does not look good. But at the end of the day, look at this. 3-day money flow crossover into the red towards the end of that range. You slip it, money flow comes back into the green, you continue up, right? So again, we don't know if we're going to come down there. We'll cross that bridge when and if we even have to get there. But yeah, let's see. Shout out to Marcus, said this is the last time to accumulate final boss incoming. Potentially. Let's see. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to Mike says, send it to 82K. I want only Frankie Candle's community left by the time this thing rips. Yeah, shout out to Mike. I mean, hey, a lot of people got nervous down here, but the Mafia stayed strong. Not because I just made a random gamble, but because we saw the signs on the chart. And again, not just gatekeeping those signals. We looked at this live on the charts on the live stream, letting you guys know, this is what we're looking at, guys. This is the higher low we're looking for. And we wound up getting it, which is nice. Hopefully, again, we've compared this many a times to the 2021 top. This is honestly a very similar structure, if we're being honest, right? That doesn't mean that the all-time high is in, right? And we're about to go into a bear market. But this is very, very, very eerily similar, right? And the reason it's similar is not just because it looks the same, right? We had the weekly bearish divergences up here, right? We had the sweep of liquidity of the all-time high, and then we got that bigger drop to the downside. Now, again, that's not my base case, right? I'm not saying we're going to a bear market necessarily, but it is a very similar structure, right? We could just see that be a local top for a bigger correction down, and then maybe we put a higher low in and continue up. But definitely looks very, very similar to the 2021 top for sure. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to All Set. Frankie's always giving. Thank you. Shout out to All Set every single weekday right here, except for yesterday. Every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are dropping that free value Let's get it. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's make sure I didn't miss anything in the chat. If you guys want to see your favorite altcoins, drop them in the chat right now. Rob the Crypto Snob will count up the votes and let us know what we're looking at. Rob, actually, let me see. Oh, is Rob here? Is the question. I didn't see him. Shout out to Rob. If you are here, let's do like 2 or 3 requests, and then I'll free ball the rest. If Rob is not here at Darren Does Things, if you could make the list, I would greatly appreciate that. All right, so let's see here. Bada boom, bada bing. Drop those altcoins. Satoshi is coming out. Give us the liquidity. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to Meza said, you said Diddy. It's liquidity. Liquidity. All right, so we're going to take a look at Ethereum. We'll take a look at Solana. We'll take a look at XRP. We'll check out all the big boys real quick, and then we'll jump into the other altcoins as well. Yeah, shout out to Sam Cam said, I know it's not a bear market, but I'm buying spot if it goes to 82K. Let's get it, baby. Let's get it. Yeah, and if you guys remember, right, just remember the pain, right? And again, listen, if the chart tells us that we come down and it looks horrible and it looks like we're going to a bear market, obviously there will be signs to say that. But just remember, right, like when it's the most painful is the best time to buy, right? Everybody was very worried here. This was honestly a great dip to buy for that next new all-time high. But remember, not every dip bought means that you're going up to the massive, massive, massive price targets. But again, I still think, right, I do still think personally that, you know, once we see that QE come in, we can really start to see this thing get going again. Shout out to Jacob. That's crazy, bro. But anyway, if we get a dump now, then it is the best to sell alts and buy back or hold for an alt run. Shout out to Chris. That is a difficult situation. Yeah, it's really, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor. This is never to be taken as financial advice, but it really depends, right? It's going to depend on a lot of things, right? Like, where's your entry on your altcoins, right? Are you like, you don't want to sell when you're like, if you're down 80% on your altcoin, I wouldn't necessarily, for me personally, if I was down 80% on an altcoin, I'm not going to sell it at an 80% loss just to buy back lower, depending on the situation. If I thought it was a scam, right, and I thought it was going to zero and I was down 80%, I'd probably take my, loss and run. Yeah, it's really, really, really hard to kind of call that, right? Because it really depends on like what your entry is, how down are you. But for me personally, on a lot of my altcoins, like if we get another dump, I'm not like panic selling. I'm probably just going to keep buying the dip, and hopefully not buy the dip until zero. But again, I do hold a lot of higher cap coins. I don't hold a lot of like super micro caps, at least as of right now, as they were just not in the conditions where those coins are really going to start flying, in my opinion. All right, so let's see. Let's jump on into Ethereum really quickly here. Bada boom. And Ethereum, man, this is like kind of brutal, guys. I'm not going to lie. Only because, not brutal as in a bearish way, but just like we're just still chugging on sideways. If you watch any live stream, since the middle of May, right, we're just still in the same exact volume profile here on Ethereum, right? Your local volume profile, you can just pull over this range, and you can see deviate below the low, back into the range, hold the value area low, back to the POC and above, back to the low, back to the high, deviate above, back to the POC, back to the low, back to the POC, back to the high, deviate above the high, back in to the POC, the low. You guys get it. So we're just still kind of bing-bonging around this sideways range. So Ethereum holding up pretty nicely here, still holding, super, super important support here above that anchored VWAP from the high here. Whoops. Pulled from the high here at around $4,100. This is that same level as we covered on the live stream many a times. This is kind of that same anchored VWAP that we were looking at on Bitcoin on the massive move to the upside, saying, hey, if we do get a much bigger push to the upside, what are we going to look to flip? Well, you're going to look for that anchored VWAP pulled from the all-time high. What happens? We get back above that anchored VWAP. We tap it as support perfectly, and we continue that trend to the upside. This is very similar to what we're seeing on Ethereum, right? Pulled from the previous high. We get back into our volume profile, flip that anchored VWAP. If we could stay above this, guys, I would say the next target to the upside, we barely front ran this daily level at 28.19. Flip that daily. Look for a continuation up to our next key level between about, let me actually pull this up real quick. I'll hide this. Where is it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Bada boom. That's not it. Bada boom, that's not it. Bada boom, that's not it. Where's that fib? There it is, right? Between about, and I'll pull that daily naked point of control up as well. Targets on Ethereum remain the same. Again, if you guys have seen the live streams, you guys will know. If we get the move up first, I will be looking for that push up between about $3,000 and $3,100 between this daily naked point of control and golden pocket retracement, right? That's just the next natural place for price to gravitate to if we hold above that anchored VWAP. If we do get the drop down, right, lose the anchored VWAP, POC is the biggest key level of support underneath, $2,300, or I'll call it $2,320. Lose that POC, we could easily come down to the value area low. The volume profile fills, guys. The $2,100 value area low was the key doorway to higher prices. Once we got above that, we anticipate the POC. Flip that POC to support. You can look to continue your journey through that volume profile, but it's not always a clean journey. Obviously, sometimes you get a push into that POC. You cling to it like a magnet. You go test that value area low one more time. So I would say the most important level just in general for Ethereum is going to be the macro value area low at $2,100, right? Because this could just be looked at as turbulence, right? You push down, lose the POC, bounce off the value area low, and then get the continuation up similar to what happened here. But, as of right now, we're just kind of consolidating here on the side of our mini range. And I would say, next key level targets to the upside remain exactly the same. Key support remains exactly the same. POC at 2320, value area low at $2,100, right? Now that value area low is also confluent here with our fib pulled from the impulse to the new high here. Obviously is confluent with that value area low. So again, if we did come down there, I would be inclined to be looking for bounces, right? If we lose that, we do have the 786 daily MPOC. I can get rid of this daily here. Whoops. Get rid of this daily right here. We do have the 786 daily naked point of control sitting just below that at about 1940. Great year to be alive. So these would be like, if we lose that POC, these are the two next biggest levels of support. In my opinion, guys, I don't really want to lose this high. We got the nice explosion to the upside. We kind of just want to come in. If we do cool off, we kind of want to hold these higher lows, to be quite honest with you. So those are the biggest levels on Ethereum. And, when we look at market cipher B here, take a look at the daily. We do have the daily green dot printing. Again, this is kind of unprinted on Bitcoin. Did that come back yet as we push back to the upside? Pull up the daily one more time here. Yeah, daily green dot still not back on Bitcoin, but on Ethereum, we do have it printing 90-minute money flow, trying to cross over into the green here, which could indicate that market cipher B 116 strategy, giving us that money flow crossover into the green. If we can keep this money flow coming up, trend to the upside may be likely to continue, targeting that next daily horizontal at 28.19, and then maybe we can get that bigger continuation up towards our macro target between $3,000 and $3,100. But yeah, just waiting for this chop to just kind of clear itself out here. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at on Ethereum. Plan pretty much remains exactly the same as what we've looked at in the past. Let's see. Shout out to Curtis Lee. Said, anybody in the CandleMafia from the UK? Shout out to the UK. Let's get it. UK Mafia, stand up, baby. Let's see. Shout out to George. I can take a look at INJ. Shout out to George. I will do some chat requests. We have the... thank you, Tony, for the list. We got ETH, SUI, XRP, Link. I'll add INJ to that list, and then we'll take a couple more requests from the chat once we cover the big boys. But let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. When ETH all-time high. Shout out to Gen Z. Whoo, baby. Who knows, man? I'll be honest. I'm never going to be, everybody always tries to call it, like, by this day, by this time, the all-time highs will come in. And, it's just, I don't know. It's really hard to do, right? It's, that's why I always just go off the charts, guys. And Gen Z, I know you know this. But, it's like, even for alt season, right? We could check in on Bitcoin dominance real quick. Back up into our fib retracement, right? Like, we tried to reject the golden pocket. We get above this 786, guys. Dominance may be on its way to 66.21%. In that case, not the best sign for altcoins, right? Now, it doesn't mean that it's over for altcoins forever. If we take a look at total 3, maybe it's this total 3 chart. Oh, that's not total 3. That's why. Yeah, I mean, like, for total, we just got to get above this value area low, right? Very simple. It's, a lot of people try to say this day is when altcoin season starts, and it's just like almost impossible to say, right? Because history doesn't always repeat, right? If you get an alt season at a certain time in one cycle, and then the macroeconomic environment is completely different in the next cycle, the timing is very likely not going to line up, right? But at the end of the day, once we get QE, I think that's like, once we get above this, from a technical perspective, this value area low at $931.2 billion, this is the level to break above. We need this Total 3 to break back into its value area for a bigger move to the upside. That is likely where we'll see a massive rip on altcoins. And then on Bitcoin dominance, if I just come back here, for Bitcoin dominance, we need to come down and lose the value area, right? This is what I'm looking at for alt season. It would be nice to get a rejection here at the local golden pocket 786, but if we don't, we might be on our way to the macro 786, 66.21%. And then if we don't get a rejection there, guys, could be break above this. I mean, the next technical level, in my opinion, is going to be about 68.87% at the value area high. I'm not saying you have to go there, right? You could easily come up, reject the 786, and then come down, lose the value area low, and then maybe that's where we see alt season start. But again, until we start really seeing the dump down out of this range, I would not be really anticipating it. It's like we could try to front run this as well by looking at the bearish signals on the chart. I mean, daily money flow trying to come out here a little bit, right? Typically if we take a look at the weekly time frame, weekly money flow in the red is typically what gives you that alt season, right? Money flow comes into the red, big dump on dominance, then we get a huge pump, right? And then eventually you finally get that full money flow crossover, massive waterfall on the Bitcoin dominance. Money flow comes into the red, but money flow is thick here on the weekly. We really want this to start coming down. And this is kind of how we can try to front run alt season, right? We can start to look at these higher daily time frames. Look at this 3-day money flow coming all the way to the upside. Yeah, let's start with the daily. Let's get that daily money flow to work its way down. But again, locally, we really want to stay below this 786. We've almost come up and tapped it. You really want to start getting a pullback from here, right? Because you have a high, a low, a lower high right on that Fibonacci zone, and then push back down to the value area low. If we get above it, looking at 66.21% potentially. So there you go. But real quick, let's jump in on Solana, which is still, I mean, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this just because, as we, actually, no, did we, as we look at Solana, we were bing-bonging around these two volume profiles, lose that value area high. Well, lose the value area high here. We tapped into that golden pocket. We can now get rid of this just because it's already tapped. But once we lost that golden pocket, obviously, we came back up, pushed back below that value area high. Next key level to look at was the 786 value area high POC. I felt crazy talking about this for so long. It's like, are we ever going to see it, Frankie? You talk about that level on Solana all the time. Are we ever going to hit it? Finally, we lose the value area high. We come down. Where'd we get the bounce? Directly from our support zone here at that POC value area high 786. It was pretty short-lived, but we did get the bounce, right? And any bounces at this point, like, again, you have to be very careful here because not on a higher time frame. I wouldn't consider this that bearish, right? Obviously, we're still, the one thing I would say here is like any bounce at this point has to be treated very carefully, right? That value area high sitting at 166.83. I mean, this is the same thing on Bitcoin, right? Like you get stuck in this range. You could look for the bounces, right? This would have been what we get here from the support zone, right? From wick to wick, about 8%. That's plenty to make some profit. That's why it's important to understand where the key levels are. You don't always have to long and then hope for a $1 million price target, right? This 8% move on a leverage trade is plenty to make some money. Move your stop loss to break even, and then have a risk-free, guaranteed winning trade for a potential continuation up. If it stops you out, you stop out in profit. But at this point, right, like on your way up, you have to be very careful around this value area high because if we get stuck in here and we can't break out, right, that next likely place for price to go is going to be that POC, which is the next support level that we've been looking at for Solana for quite some time. It's the value area low and the POC of the previous range. That's what I'm looking at. Lose this POC, you're back within your local profile. Value area low is very likely, and then that POC sits just underneath. If we get down here, on Solana, guys, I actually, I mostly trade Bitcoin. At least recently, I've been mostly trading Bitcoin. But I may actually look for a nice long here if I can get the confirmations on the POC, sitting at 142.88. So the next support zone, if we lose the current low here, next key level to look at is, major support. POC $143 with the value area low sitting at 145.97. So, still kind of the same situation on Solana. If we take a look at the 8 hours here, this might even look like, get a dip down to that level, get a lower low on price. That 8 hour might print you a nice little bullish divergence. Not that I would take the trade based off that signal, but if I got lower time frame entry confirmations, I would love to see that 8 hour bull div give us the confidence for at least some kind of a bigger continuation to the upside. But right now, biggest level of resistance on Solana, 166.83. Biggest level of support if we continue dumping, 142.88, $143 at that POC zone. So there we go. Let's see. Shout out to Thomas MC. Says, hey, Frankie, thanks for your content. I'm thinking of joining. Shout out to Thomas. Says, can you take a look at Bitcoin dominance? I front ran you, bro. You might be behind a little bit on the stream, but we did just take a look at Bitcoin dominance. Said, I noticed some alts are performing not too bad. Could you take a look at here? I'm in a big long from, I assume that says near. You want me to take a look at near? Yeah, I will jot down some of these. We got INJ, near. You don't have to spam your, I will give you guys a chance to drop some alts in there, but near, we'll take a look at near. INJ, and then we'll, yeah. So shout out to you, bro. Actually, if you're behind, you will know that we just looked at dominance at this point. But shout out to you, bro. Hopefully it helps you out. Let's see. Shout out to Chuck. Said holding a short to the macro PLC at 98K. Also in a bear flag at the moment. Yeah, we'll see. If we can't get back above that value area high, we all know what we're looking at, guys. And, it would just be amazing to see the TA play out like that. So, yeah, not a guarantee that we come down there. But, again, that weekly red dot print, it's definitely a possibility. But, I'm never going to be someone that's like, there's no chance we're going up, right? We have to go down. That's not how the markets move. I've been doing this long enough to understand, and I've been hurt plenty of times and enough to know that, price does not care about what you want. So hopefully, if you're a short, understand you got to take profit on the way. But Chucks, I'm sure you know that, brother. Shout out to Wick589 in the chat. Welcome in, brother. Said, sir. Shouting out Jesse and Dutch. Sir, how are ya? Shout out to Wick589. Welcome in. And Wick's wife is Wick's wife here. Wick's wife. Show yourself. Fine 89. Shout out to Thomas. Said, I meant H-bar, not near. Try to take a look at H-bar as well for you, brother. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Trust me, we're about to fly, baby. Let's go. Shout out to Sam. I hope so, right? For the long term, for the long term spot bags, right? I am hoping that we get a move to the upside, but we just have to understand, right now, trying to get back above that value area high. She's back up. She's trying to reclaim it. Are we going to push up? Let's see. But again, if you're just tuning in, just scrub back to the beginning of the stream. We covered all the key levels and my thoughts on Bitcoin. But for now, let's go ahead and jump on into XRP. Well, here we are, guys. At or near, no pun intended, not that we're looking at near right now, but okay, value area low stayed the same when I bring it to the current price action. But as you guys know, we did have some key levels here on XRP. We did have the 786 daily naked point of control, right? Well, we have the golden pocket first, but this 786, we had a daily naked point of control sitting just underneath that. Do I have that daily MPOC on the chart? I guess not. But we had a 786 daily MPOC. Once we wound up losing this, very likely to come into that 205 zone. We came down to about 208, but at this point, guys, we've gotten rejected from the value area high. We could not reclaim POC. Next likely place for price to go is that value area low of the range, 205. We already almost got the move down there. Yeah, this low remains untapped. Very interesting. Just barely front ran that low. So, at this point, I would potentially, key level support is very clear. I would just be looking at this simply in the context of the volume profile. Lose the high, lose the POC, lose the high, go to the POC, lose the POC, go to the low. If we do continue down, that value area low is the likely target, in my opinion. Would I be getting super, super bearish at that value area low? Probably not. That is a support level, right? We're not getting bearish at the lows. We like to get bearish at the highs and bullish at the lows, at least, even if it's for a little push to the upside. But you do have your golden pocket confluence down here as well, so I will mark this out as a key zone, right? Sitting between about 206 all the way down to about $1.97. If we are going to continue bouncing off this Fibonacci zone, golden pocket would be the first place to look for the bounce. We lose that. What is this? This is just a wick down here. Underneath that, we do have the 786 sitting at about a 183, right? Do we have to go to 183? No. If we lose that golden pocket, I do think it's going to be the next likely place for price to go. But, let me take a look at the 8-hour here. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, guys. If we can get a push down there into that zone, again, lower lows on our price action with a higher low on specifically the 8-hour time frame here for a nice little bullish divergence. Again, not that I would enter the trade based off that, but if I can get, if you had low time frame entry confirmations here with that 8-hour bull dip, that 8-hour bull div could mean, hey, you got a decent low here, and it's coming in at the value area low, the area where you would look at price as a discount. This is where you want to be looking for longs in anticipation of coming back into the fair value, back up to the POC, back up to the value area high. Once you lose that golden pocket, however, that is where I'd look down towards the 786. You lose that 786, that is your doorway to lower prices, in my opinion, where we would likely come back down to our previous range value area high as we had in the past. This was a level that we looked at back here, saying if we lose this range, this is the level, this is the biggest level of support. If you break below this, it does open the door to much lower prices for XRP, potentially down to about $1.40 all the way down to about $1.23. But luckily, we're pretty far away from that as of right now. So let's see if we can get that. If we do get the continuation down, let's see if we can come down and hit that support zone with bullish confirmation for another bounce back through the range. We lose it, it's going to be all or nothing here at the 786. So there we go. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Mark Dutch, says depends on the shampoo. We all know conditioner is better. Shout out to Mark Dutch. I don't know what that's in reference to, but shout out to washing your hair. Wash your hair out there, Mafia. I wish there were more shower enthusiasts out here. Shout out to Wick589. I am for sure a shower enthusiast. 100% a shower enthusiast. I am known in my family as, the guy who never gets out of the shower. It's just that hot water running down your back. It's just so meditative. But anyway, let's see. Kind of a big deal around here. Shout out to K Diggity. You are kind of a big deal around here. You're Phoebe's boyfriend. I mean, come on. All right, Phoebe, calm down. Calm down. You'll see him soon. Shout out to K Diggity. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Drummer, said, do you sell bathwater? Not bathwater, but we do sell shower water. Soon to be on FrankieCandlesTrading.com. You just drink a little bit of it, and that's it. Profitability is going through the roof, 100%. Your hit rate is going from 40% to at least 89%. But let's see. Jesse said, me too. Let's go. Shower enthusiasts. Let's get it. Shout out to Wick589. Bro, you started a thing here. We love showers. Maybe I should do a shower stream. Clothed, of course. I'll wear a bathing suit, which is a Speedo. But anyway, I feel like most crypto pros would take cold showers. Shout out to Spank. Yeah, maybe. It might be true. Yo, shout out to Golden Child, said, bro, soap with Frankie Candles bathwater coming soon. Shout out to Golden Child. That'd be wild. Yeah, shout out to Tony. Yeah, Tony. Let's get that going here. I'll fill up a bucket and come pick it up, and we'll start slanging that stuff. Shout out to Al Jr. in the chat, said, Frankie, the part of the shower if Frankie, the part of the shower if you add LL Cool J, you'll be set. Shout out to Al Jr. Let's go, baby. Is a Billy Madison reference? Which, the shower enthusiast? Is that a Billy Madison? I haven't seen Billy Madison in years. 3 showers a day for me. Shout out to Michael S. Whew. That's high performance. You're a high performance individual there. Wear the full outfit with the hat in the shower stream. Shout out to Tony Roaz. Shout out to Tony. Maybe we'll do that. Just like water falling down our face here on the hat. Shout out to Captain Kirk in the chat. Welcome in. Good to see you in here. Shout out to Vegas Claw, said Frankie the type of guy to make the water jump out of the shower. Shout out to Vegas Claw, bro. But let's continue on here. We took a look at Ethereum, took a look at Bitcoin, took a look at Solana, took a look at XRP. Let's go ahead and jump on into Sui. Let's do it. Bada boom. That's not our Sui chart. Where's our Binance Tether US? Here we are. Okay, so we have come into our key level of support for Sui here, guys. Cling on to that anchored VWAP. Ugh. Got the push down to the value area low here on Friday night. Literally, must have been, yeah, or I guess we didn't look at Sui on yesterday, on last week's live stream. So yeah, we did push down into that anchored VWAP. Tap that value area low. Value area low held as support. This is still the biggest key level of support, I will say. Anchored VWAP and the value area low are tapped, but I will kind of move this blue box down towards that daily naked point of control. Yeah, we're trying to reclaim that daily MPOC. Yeah, trying to cling onto that daily MPOC, right? So we got the drop down, value area low, daily MPOC just underneath us at about $3, almost even. If we could hold this zone, guys, we could potentially remain inside our volume profile, which would keep the doorway back up to the POC open, and then a potential move back up to the value area high. But as of right now, your biggest level of resistance right now is going to be that POC of the range. And yeah, it is nice that we're holding on to this anchored VWAP. It does look like we are testing it a ton. Obviously, we always say the more times you knock on that door, the more likely it is for the man inside to get annoyed that you woke him up from his nap, and sometimes he will just swing that door open. And in this case, that door is the floor. So, yeah, tap it, tap it, tap it, tap it. We can't hold this. Probably coming down towards that daily naked point of control. Now, still a level of support, right? Now, again, very similar to a lot of the other altcoins. If we do put in another lower low in here, play around with that value area low daily MPOC, could put in that 8-hour bullish divergence, which in my opinion, would be somewhat nice to see at a value area low for a continuation to the upside. But that is simply going to be, I would say lose that POC. Very high probability of that daily naked point of control to get hit. I would be looking for the 8-hour bull div there for a potential, indication that we could get the bounce. But, you lose that daily MPOC. Pretty clear drop down to the previous value area high, sitting at 282. Lose this level. Not only is this a key level of support, but it's also your doorway to lower prices. Because once you get accepted back into there, right, you're below the anchored VWAP. This anchored VWAP is pulled from the low, right, of this uptrend, right, or the low of this downtrend, I should say. So at that point, right, you're getting below the anchored VWAP. If you can't get back into that range, this anchored VWAP is going to be resistance, right, and you get down to that value area high, get stuck under here. You could get accepted into the lower range. Would this mean it's all over for Sui? Not necessarily. We have to remember, guys, we've gotten a 150% pump, right? We are currently down about 24%. I would like to stay within this profile. Like, for the most part, as long as we stay within this volume profile, I would be looking up. But once you lose it and get accepted into this range, that's where it gets a little bit more bearish. If we pull our larger Fibonacci retracement, we'll pull it from the absolute low to the high here. You have confluence on the POC with the 786. Not a ton of confluence on that golden pocket, though. If we pull it to the impulse. Yeah, I would say biggest levels of support right now on Sui until we get back into this range. Daily naked point of control at $3. Value area high at 282. Lose that value area high. Much higher probability of much more downside. But again, watch out for that 8-hour bearish bullish divergence into the low, right? Because remember, this is typically where you're looking for longs on price, right? You're not looking to get like super bearish. You want to get bearish at the highs as we were testing this macro golden pocket. But it's much harder for people to get bearish at a macro golden pocket as price is ripping, right? It's not like this is not where people like to take shorts, but it is the place that is the best place to look for shorts. You want to short green candles, long red candles, as long as you're not like longing as, you don't want to be like catching every single knife. But at the end of the day, like, just go back into history at any time, on any chart, on any asset. The best long positions are as price is coming down, not as it's coming up. Sure, you could catch the rides to the upside, but, catching these rides to the upside gets very dangerous. So, yeah, that's what I'll be looking at on Sui. Taking a look at Market Cipher B. Daily green dot has been confirmed. Money flow still in the red here. Chopped up on the money flow just a little bit. 2-day. VWAP rolling to the upside, money flow trying to come up on the 2-day. I still do think the biggest sign here on the altcoins, at least as of markets, as Market Cipher goes, I will say I do think the biggest signal here is going to be the money flow crossovers on the 2-day, right? This is typically a very bullish sign for altcoins. For whatever reason, the 2-day money flow, right, does give you the bigger continuation up. I guess on a Bitcoin as well, right? Even here, we've marked these out in the past, obviously. Big move to the upside. Next 2-day money flow crossover, big move to the upside, right? Money flow crosses into the red, very scary. Oh my God, it's never going back up. You start pushing up, money flow crosses over, big leg to the upside, right? So I do think, right, just looking at this chart and just understanding how money flow works, eventually when we do get that money flow crossover into the green, that is potentially going to be where we see that bigger rip to the upside. At the, in the long term, I wouldn't be like super worried about Sui until we really start losing the point of control of this range in conflict with the 786 at 227. But we're still very far away from that level. So we'll watch those lower time frame value area lows sitting here near the daily naked point of control at $3. Lose that, looking down here to the value area high. All right, let's see. Don't forget to smash that like button, guys. Shout out to the like police. Shout out to K Diggity. Said, like the stream, everyone. It's free. Do it. It supports the channel. 1K likes needed, in my opinion. Shout out to K Diggity. Let's run it up to 1K likes. I'll give away. If we hit 750 likes, I'll give away $100 in Solana. We'll see if we can do it. Shout out to Tony D, though. Tony D, keep an eye on the likes. Let us know what we're looking at here, because I can't see them at the moment. But let's see. Have you called Satoshi lately, Frankie? I have not. It's time to jump on the Candle phone and dial up Satoshi. Actually, he doesn't like when I dial him on the live streams, though. So we're going to have to wait till I get off the live stream. I'll call Satoshi, and we'll get him back up here. And, yeah, I'm going to set a reminder. Hey, Benjamin, remind me to call Satoshi after the live stream. Beautiful. Reminder set. We're going to call Satoshi after this and hopefully pump Bitcoin back to the upside. Let's go. Let's see. Shout out to Vegas Call. Said, Frankie, can we take a look at MLC for the top, in your opinion? Shout out to Vegas Claw. MLC? Is that a coin? Shout out to Vegas Claw. Let me know what you mean in the chat. For the top, in your opinion. Are you asking for a like an all-time high prediction on MLC? Am I even looking at the right thing? Let me know what you mean, Vegas Claw, and I'll try to take a look at it for you. Is Phoebe Satoshi? No, Phoebe is not Satoshi. Don't look into that. Don't look into that. She's not Satoshi. I swear. K Diggity. Shh. Anyway, shout out to Dave Digital. What is going on? Yo, Dave said giveaway Mrs. Candles. Mrs. Candles would fit in a cardboard box right now because she is totally deflated. Let's get Mrs. Candles in here. Hang on one sec. Guys, Mrs. Candles needs to go to the ER. Mrs. Candles, I think, has a really bad hole in her. I think she has two big holes in her. But anyway, she is down bad, guys, right? Well, Mrs. Candles, cover her up here. She's still alive. Don't worry. She just gets a little deflated when Bitcoin's going down. So maybe we pump her up tonight. We could get that beautiful face inflated once again. Oh, God. Mrs. Candles, stay awake here. Stay with us, Mrs. Candles. We'll try to blow her back up and hopefully get Bitcoin back above that value area high to hold support. But shout out to Mrs. Candles. Let's see. All right, so let's take a quick look at Link. That is next on our list here. Let's jump on into our Link chart. Man, Link lost the last level, or the first level of key support here. Golden Pocket 786. That was your first level that you wanted to hold. This is now tapped. We're going to grab that off the chart here. I would say at this point, right, Golden Pocket from the low to the high sits here in confluence with the daily. I would say this is probably the next key level of support. Honestly, a lot of the altcoins look somewhat similar here on the 8-hour time frame. So, yeah, I would say next key level of support on Link is going to be sitting between the daily and the Golden Pocket. If we get the continuation down, right, at the end of the day, we got from the low, flip the low to support in like the most beautiful fashion ever. Get above the low, flip it to support, start your journey to where? The POC. Tried to reclaim the POC, lost it, got back above it. And obviously the POC does act as a magnet for price, guys. This is the highest volume node within the profile. This one is actually massive, to be honest with you. So sometimes price does like to cling to that POC. You can even see here, you get above it, back below it, you get sucked in here, and then eventually you get above it and you go to the value area high, filling the range in full as you would expect. Same thing here. You get back below the high, down towards that POC, bounce, lose it, bounce, lose it, back down to the value area low, back down to the actually you front ran the value area low here, back to the POC, and then eventually you did get the drop back down. So, you know, again, it's not uncommon to see price kind of wiggle around here on that point of control, but if we are going to continue down here, we can't reclaim the POC right now. I would be looking down towards that Golden Pocket daily, where you could potentially, you know, it would probably take time if we get that 8-hour red dot. You could look, you know, just the way these momentum waves looks like we could potentially form an 8-hour bullish divergence. And with the Golden Pocket there, this is, again, the full Fibonacci retracement from the low to the high. So we would hope that, you know, you bounce off that level to continue moving to the upside, right? Get back above that POC, and then we could target the weekly at about 1869. If you lose the Golden Pocket, very clearly, That value area low is going to be the next most important level of support because overall we do want to just stay within this volume profile, right? Once you lose that volume profile, that's where the bigger drop down occurs. And we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But right now, simply put, next key level of support between 1312 and 1283. Lose that coming down to the 786. Whoops, value area low. Between. Fix that box. Sitting right here at about 1180, right? 1180 to 1170, I'll call it, right? And then once you lose that 786, not only are you losing the 786, not only are you losing the 786, but you're also losing your value area low. This would, in my opinion, be the line in the sand for a new low to be made, meaning breaking structure to the downside here of this low at about 1012. We'll cross that bridge if and when we get there, but right now, those are the key levels of support that I'll be looking at. Hopefully to keep this uptrend, for the most part, continuing inside the volume profile. But at the end of the day, guys, we're inside the volume profile. Coming down to this golden pocket's not really a big deal in my opinion. Even coming back down to the value area low, as long as you could stick that, get back above the POC. It's not really until we lose that because of the confluence on the 786, just like we talked about on Bitcoin. If you're looking for bounces, it's got to happen at that 786. You lose that 786, much higher probability. That invalidates the idea of that macro high or low and does call for another drop to the downside and a new low to be made. So that's what I'll be looking at on Chainlink. Watch out for that 8-hour bullish divergence. Honestly, on pretty much everything we've looked at so far, into the key, we have key levels of support down below with potential bullish divergences forming on the 8-hour. That's what I would be looking at here on Chainlink. Shout out to Aladino. Says, you guys should be lucky. Much respect to you, Frankie. Shout out to Aladino. I appreciate you for being here, bro. Thank you. And we got Pennywise in the chat. Shout out to Pennywise, everybody's favorite clown of the CandleMafia. Friendly clown, we think. We actually have never confirmed that. Has anybody ever met Pennywise? And if you have, are you still alive? Is the question. But let's see here. Do I have a price prediction for BTC on my birthday, July 17th? Now that we are getting a little closer, Frankie. Shout out to Base Bailey. July 17th, I'm not a big time-based predictor. I'm more of a technical wizard rather than a time wizard. But if I had to make a random arbitrary speculation here, not financial advice, I would put a very low probability of this happening at the time I'm about to say. But let's see. What is it? July 17th, he said? Shout out to Base Bailey. July 17th. I would say, let's see. July 17th sits right there. Honestly, you got a lot of time for price action to develop there. Let's pull this volume profile. I'll tell you what. I would say by July 17th, again, this is very speculative. I would not, stick to the TA, not these time-based calculations, but let's see. The move up from the value area low to the value area high, which is pretty even, or let's say to the value area high. This took about 28 days. We're about 43 days. I'll tell you what. I hope if we get a bigger cool off, I hope Bitcoin does this. I hope we are breaking all-time highs by July 17th. Again, based off pretty much nothing here. It's impossible for me to guess the time, but we're going to hope for that. Just as a random guess, shout out to Base Bailey. We're hoping for that. In the bearish case, I would say, let's see, 28 days. Let's say we come down here, lose the POC. Yeah, maybe making a lower high before coming down to lows. Again, this is totally speculative. I would not anticipate any of that to happen. But yeah, July 17th, it is enough time for a big cool-off and a potential new all-time high, to be quite honest. Is that going to happen? We don't know, right? Again. So yeah. Yeah, maybe. Hopefully we're at new all-time highs, Bailey. Hopefully. I cannot guarantee that, though. And I definitely cannot guarantee it by July 17th. Let's see. July 17th, the bull market is over. Shout out to CandleMafia's John Cena on that day and to zero. Shout out to Vegas Claw. My birthday is the 7th of June. Hey, shout out to Jay Violet. Happy birthday. Happy early birthday. We're going to have to sing happy birthday to you on the live stream when it comes around. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Tyler Jordan, said July 17th is not my birthday, in case anyone was wondering. Shout out to Tyler. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Shout out to Golden Child said, I've only seen Pennywise staring at me through the drain in the gutter, always calling me over, trying to get me some TA, trying to get me to some TA down there with him. Shout out to Golden Child. Come on. You want to learn about bullish divergences? Shout out to Golden Child and shout out to Pennywise. Shout out to Mark Dutch said some kids are mentioning their birthday weeks in advance on these live streams, but I know Tyler doesn't need that attention. Shout out to Mark Dutch. Shout out to Tyler Durden. Let's see. Shout out to Eddie said I'm about to long 200x. Use the stop loss, please. Shout out to Tales of Mystery said, how can we enter the giveaways? Shout out to Tales of Mystery. We'll just run if we hit our like goal, we will just hit a you just got to be in chat, I believe. But on Friday giveaways that we do every week, you just have to be in chat to win the giveaways. At Tony D, correct me if I'm wrong. What kind of TA is Pennywise asking for? Come on down here. It's dark, but don't be scared. But anyway, let's continue on. Shout out to Jedi Skirk says I'm 15 minutes behind. Shout out to Jedi Skirk in the past. But yeah, let's continue on here. We took a look at Chainlink. That was last on our list, I believe. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at INJ. Bada boom. Whoops. Yeah, so INJ, I believe we looked at this last week. Potentially on Friday. I believe this is the daily bearish divergences into the value area high. This is always going to be a higher probability rejection, right? Doesn't mean you have to go to zero, but as always, scary deviating below the lows, but that is always where you're going to be looking for a flip of that value area low to continue to the next likely target being the POC. Once you get above that POC, you look to get a push into that value area high. We did have those daily bearish divergences, higher highs on your price action, lower highs on your momentum waves, and then at that point, you get accepted back into your range. Next likely place for price to go, well, right down to the POC. At this point, I will say, this is your key level of support. Lose this POC, very high probability opportunity to get a push back down to the value area low. However, if we take a look at the 2-day here, 2-day money flow just begging to get a crossover into the green. If, again, just like all the other alts that I just showed, these 2-day money flow crossovers are nothing to mess around with. You reclaim the value area low here, 2-day money flow crossover, massive leg to the value area high, flipped it to support, continued the massive leg to the upside. Anytime you get these 2-day money flow crossovers, they're typically good signs, right? 2-day money flow crossover here, big move up. Then you got a kind of a wonky dump in the bear market. But then you got that second 2-day money flow crossover, started the bull market for INJ for the most part. Like even here, 2-day money flow crossover, significant move up. But really, we've spent a decent amount of time here in the red. I do think once you get that 2-day money flow crossover, that's your best bet of getting the continuation up into your previous value area. Once you flip $18 to support, that's where you could potentially look for that bigger move up through this profile. But you just got to be patient here, to be honest. Like, even if we do get below that POC and we get a bigger retracement, let me pull an anchored VWAP here. Yeah, I would say locally, I would say right here, POC, golden pocket. It's somewhat of a zone. POC, golden pocket, 1185 to 1024. This is going to be the big area to hold. If you lose this level, I think the value area low is going to be more likely. And then if we pull our full Fibonacci retracement, I mean, you don't even really have confluence there on the value area low. But I would say with this anchored VWAP support on that golden pocket 786, this is the biggest level between 1185 and 1024. If you're going to kind of just cling around to the POC, reclaim, and then break out, like this would be the level to hold, in my opinion. You lose that, we could start to look lower. But yeah, at this point, right, just like XRP when it happened on XRP, we hit the value area high, right? This is different on things like Link, right? If you take a look at Link here, we're not rejecting the value area high. We got above the low, pushed into the POC, and we're just kind of playing around with that POC right now. So, the overall anticipation of that volume profile is to see the full fill. But if we were approaching this POC as support after retesting the value area high, the higher probability move would be to go down to the value area low. But because we have not tested that value area high just yet, the anticipation here is, hey, go to the value area low, POC. As long as you can reclaim that POC, the overall anticipation is that value area high to get filled in full, or value area to get filled in full to the value area high. But those are like kind of the different situations that we're in here with something like INJ. Right? We have rejected the high. Go over to XRP. Why were we more interested in potentially, or I would say more worried about XRP coming back down to the bottom of this range? It was because we had already gotten the full fill. Right, so the full rotation is just back down to the low. So I would say on INJ, it's very similar, right? We have rejected the value area high with bearish divergences. One thing that you do have here is your 2-day money flow looking to cross over into the green. What does that look like on XRP, actually? Yeah, your 2-day money flow on XRP did not look as good as it does on INJ, right? So, if you get that 2-day money flow crossover, hopefully you could hold a higher low, get the bigger breakout for another leg up. Very similar to what we've seen happen in the past. So, yeah, that's what I'd be looking at on INJ. I forgot who asked for that, but shout out to you if you're still here. I said we'd look at it, and here we are. All right, let's see. Yo, shout out to Mark Dutch said, I do know you got banger exhaust pipes under your Ford at Redman. You see, I know stuff. Stuff USDT. Shout out to Mark Dutch. If you visit the person's X page on their birthdays, I think it has balloons. Not sure though. Tony D just texted me. That's like on my iPhone when you text congratulations, like the confetti falls or happy birthday, balloons pop up. It's always jarring. Thank you for INJ. Shout out to George. No problemo, brother. Mark, that car is paid off. The best part of that car. Shout out to Redman. Shout out to Mrs. Candles. Speaking of cars, guys, got Mrs. Candles a Tesla. I personally don't really love Teslas. I'm more of a car guy. But I'm not going to lie. That thing is freaky. It literally just drives itself. I didn't realize how extreme or how advanced self-driving is. You just sit in the car and it drives. It makes left turns into traffic. It changes lanes. It merges. It does everything. I hate to say it. I really don't love them. But it's going to be hard. Like, you just never have to never have to drive again. So, it's kind of wild. I never experienced that before. But when I went to get it yesterday, we had it drive us home, and it was like the weirdest thing ever. But it doesn't make noise. I don't like that. I like loud cars. Love Tesla. Shout out to All Set. I never thought I would say this, to be honest. But low-key, I'm just going to want to steal Mrs. Candle's car all the time now. Because it's just like jump in and sit there. I thought it was like you had to hold your hand on nothing. I'm just sitting there like this, and the thing's just skirting around, cutting people off. And it has New York mode, which it disregards curbs. It disregards all the lines on the road, and it just cuts people off. And it even will it'll even lift the mirror up to flip people off. So New York mode is crazy. If you get a Tesla, make sure it has New York mode. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, All Set said FSD rocks. It's crazy. It's crazy. I cannot explain how impressed I am with that. Insane. I love driving. Yeah, Jonathan, that's kind of me too. It goes against my natural car guy vibes. It's like I like to drive too. But I mean, that thing doesn't even make noise. So it's like, it is also fat. It's crazy, man. It's wild. The tech is crazy in that car. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Gen Z. I've already pulled up TradingView on the screen. I was sitting there in the passenger seat, and I was like, does it have a browser? It has a browser. I pulled up Bitcoin right away. I just got to log into my account, and I could just drive and look at the charts. Pretty crazy. Maybe I'll send a picture of me trading in the Tesla. But yeah. Let's see. Doing TA in a Tesla. Yeah, that's crazy. Again, that's like the only... If it didn't drive itself, I would hate it, I think. But it's crazy. I literally am mind blown. I'm speechless. 6 billion miles driven by FSD. Shout out to Tony Rojas. That is crazy. That is crazy. You could do TA while driving now. Yeah, I guess on a phone. I guess on my phone I could. Let's see. Oh yeah, while you drive, no excuse for going live. I wonder if there's a camera on that screen. If there's a camera on that screen, I am 100% going live while driving. Imagine I get pulled over. He's like, "What are you?" I was like, "I'm live on YouTube. You're live on YouTube while driving. Like, what's wrong with you?" But anyway, let's continue Tesla trading. Yeah, shout out to CandleMafia's John Cena. But yeah, I will say I'm not really a big fan of Teslas, but they might win me over with that. I don't think I would ever want one for my main car, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Shout out to Zev. He said, "Dude, just show the calves." All right, fine. We're coming up to the end of the stream here. We're gonna show the calves here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, you can't even see the socks, baby. Smack those calves. Smack those calves. They're veiny today, not going to lie. Oh, it does have a camera, but it only works with Zoom calls. Interesting. I'm going to log into the Frank Campbell's YouTube channel on that Tesla. I'm going right out there right after the live stream. But anyway, let's continue on. What? Shout out to Vegas Claw said it detects spirits in the cemetery. That messed my head up. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Oh, my God. Yeah, that's wild. I'm shocked at how much I enjoyed being in that car for the short period of time I was in it. I just want loud pops and bangs and burbles and blow-off valves. That's my thing. Tesla's pumping because you bought one. Shout out to Michael S. But yeah, let's continue on here, guys. Let's take a look at Tesla. I'm just kidding. All right, let's continue on here. So we took a look at INJ. Let's take a look at H-bar. It was another one of requests. Let's see. Giga Longbottom, you could put self-driving in a Chevy truck. But if they could put self-driving in, like, I don't know, a Mark V Supra or, like, something dope that's loud, that'd be fire. Let's see. What's my dream car? Shout out to David. My dream, I like all cars. I would be... It's hard, man. I don't know if I really have a dream car. I like everything. There's some cars that you wouldn't think are a dream car that I would say is a dream car for me. Like a 2JZ Supra, dream car. Not a Lamborghini, but it's a 2JZ Supra. So yeah. Yeah, I love the sound of the turbos. Honestly, anything with a blow-off valve. Oh man. Ever hear a McLaren 570S? With a blow-off valve or a 720S with a blow-off valve? Oh, my God. Mark V Supras are really nice, too, even though they're basically BMWs. But anyway, guys, this is a crypto stream. Maybe we'll talk about cars at the end. But let me just cover a couple more altcoins here. Taking a look at H-Bar. Any car guys in the chat? Let me know how many car guys. I feel like Mafia likes cars. Yeah, Shelby. Yeah, Mustangs are cool. I don't know. I am like I just like all cars. I love muscle cars. I love all cars. It's yeah, but honestly, I don't know. Maybe a Mark V's not my dream car, but Mark V Supers are cool. I've been like into them lately. They're all over my Instagram feed. Kind of makes me want to go get one, honestly. But yeah, I like everything. McLarens, Lambos, everything. I just like cars. A bubble Honda with a laptop in the passenger seat, like that's a dream car, right? If you know, you know. Let's take a look at H-Bar here, guys. Getting sidetracked, talking about cars. Old school German cars, yeah, baby. Shelby 68 GT, let's go. If there's gonna be a Mark VI Supra. My problem is like I get bored really fast. I don't know. I wish you could just like lease a car for like a month and then just swap it out. That'd be fun. GTRs. My dad has a GTR. Shout out to Tyler Jordan. GTR is another. I think that's like everybody's dream car. GTR is probably one of the coolest cars I've ever been in my life. Brap. Shout out to Dylan. Cars versus dogs. One gets wiped off the face of the earth. What are you choosing? The necessity of cars or the companionship of good boys? Shout out to Tony D. Literally evaporate every single car on the planet. Not even a question. Not many other things, though. Yeah, dogs over everything. But anyway, let's continue on here. Super sidetracked. Let's take a look. That's the spot chart. That's not what I want. Where is my... Where's my H-bar chart? This is Close enough. This is close enough. All right, so we have lost my preferred local support level on H-bar. We had our golden pocket, anchored VWAP confluence. That would have been the place, in my opinion, to bounce, to get back into our range for more upside. Unfortunately, we were unable to hold that level, so let's go ahead and find the next one. And this was pulled from the higher low, so let's just pull this all the way to the low here. That work? Bam. So, yeah, I mean, you're now below your anchored VWAP. This is going to be strong resistance on the way back to the upside. I'm going to hide that for a minute. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's over just yet for H-bar, but I will say golden pot. This is kind of your last zone. This is full golden pocket 786, sitting between 16 and 14, 16 and a half and 14 and a half cents. I really would have preferred, you know, I would be much more fond of this level if this anchored VWAP was coming up through here. The reason I'm not huge about this level is unless, let me see if we can get any kind of significant MPOCs in here. No monthly. Nah, we already tapped the weekly. So real quick, I will just mark this out even though it's already tapped. You do have this tapped weekly MPOC. Bada boom. Whoops. So you have the tapped weekly MPOC. We did just come down and hold that as of right now. So this would have been, if we had looked at H-bar before today, that would have been something I would have been looking at as the important support. Let me just grab this as well. You have a daily MPOC sitting right down here. Bada boom. Another one down here. Not very confluent with anything, to be quite honest. But let's get these off the chart now. Okay, so zone number one I would watch is going to be this level right here. Golden pocket, tapped weekly MPOC, and the daily MPOC, which was barely front ran. You already did get a bounce here. But again, if we looked at H-bar on, say, Friday or Thursday, this would have been that key level to look at. Got a bounce. You got more confluence here than you do on the 786, but I would just say, like, to be honest, guys, if you do not bounce off this golden pocket in a big way, if you do, you really want to reclaim value area low. But again, you still have, let me pull two anchored VWAPs here. Whoops. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of below this resistance now, you know. If you bounce here, you're going to be coming up to the, not only this anchored VWAP, which is now flipped to resistance, you also have the anchored VWAP from the top, which is going to flip it, not flip into resistance, but is already resistance, which is confluent with this value area low. So I'll just give you the resistance and the support here for H-bar. Kind of in a pickle here for H-bar, to be honest. Short. So, yeah. Get the bounce here. You got to fight above this anchored VWAP. Even if you get above that, you have the anchored VWAP from the high and the golden pocket and the value area low. Key resistance on H-bar sits between 19 and 19 and almost 20 cents. Value area low, golden pocket 786, anchored VWAP from the high. If you come down, the last level of defense you have down here is your daily MPOC 786 between 15 and 14 cents. You lose that 786, guys. In my opinion, new low is probably coming. Meaning breaking structure of the downside here of about 12 cents. Not favorable. So you really want to hold this fib zone here. You lose this. Unlike the first fib zone that we looked at, you have support down below. Underneath here, I think it's much more likely to break structure. Because if you're going to be looking for a bounce, a higher low and a higher high, right, to low, high, higher low, higher high, this Fibonacci retracement zone is the area to look at it, to come in. Once you lose it, probably coming a bit deeper. So hopefully, you know, this is the more confluent level. You have the weekly and the daily MPOC in the golden pocket. Taking a look at market cipher. VWAP on the 2-day trying to come to the upside. Money flow kind of flat. Let's check that 4-hour time frame. 4-hour money flow trying to come up as well. So, yeah, if you can't hold this golden pocket, I'd be looking down here. But this is your last stand before new lows, in my opinion. Meaning new local lows below 100, but below 12 cents. So that's what I'd be looking at on H-bar. Hopefully you can hold that golden pocket. If not, last line of defense. 4-hour money flow coming up. Let's check that 8-hour real quick. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, although I like the level here a little bit better because you have two MPOCs, one of them being a weekly, I would say if you do break down, same thing as a lot of other stuff. This 8 hour, I cannot unsee the bullish divergence on the 8 hour time frame. Lower lows, higher lows. If you get that, already going to be looking at key support here. That could be the sign that you could get a bigger bounce to the upside. And then at that point, you got to approach the value area low, and then hopefully you can flip it to support for the bigger move up. If not, I'd be looking for more downside. This is 100%. I'd say the 786, 14 cents is your last line of defense. It's not even really 14 cents. It's 0.14697. Lose that. Ugh, don't love it. Taking a look at the weekly. Weekly red dot is confirmed, so that's a little better than it just starting to print now. So yeah, these are the levels I'd be looking at on H-bar. Kind of stinks that you didn't hold that local level of resistance or support because now you have resistance above, you're below the value area. Yeah. That's what I'd be looking at. Let's see. Shout out to Vegas Call said, dude, my vet sucks so much gas. Oh my God. Shout out to Vegas Call. What kind of vet do you got, bro? What kind of vet you got? Let me know. Like even C8 Corvettes, guys, they get so much hate. They get so much hate because they're not a supercar. I think they're cool. And it's like, I don't know why people got to hate on stuff. You know, it's like C8s are cool. I get it. It's not a Lamborghini. It's not a Ferrari. It looks like one, and it's faster than a lot of cars way above its price range. I don't know if there's a better looking mid-engine supercar that you could buy that's a better value than the Corvette, the C8 Corvette. Super dope car. I'm sorry. People hate on them. I see them, and I'm like, that guy probably gets so much hate, but that's a dope car. I'm sorry. They look cool. And the fact that you could get it for that price is insane. My Tesla sucks so much electricity. Shout out to SMC. Smart money concepts. Let's go. All right, let's see. AI. Shout out to Aussie. AI16Z. Why don't they give this like a better name? This is like a brutal name to say. NSX, the new NSX or the old one? They're both fire. The new NSX is pretty dope, but then people say, "Oh, you bought a Honda, right?" So funny. You can't win, and this is actually something I learned, throughout my 33 long years on this earth. You get a Corvette, they say it's not a supercar. You get a Lamborghini, they say you're cocky or you're a show-off. You drive a broken down car, they call you a loser. It's like you can't win. That's why you can't really care what people say. That's why I root for the people in the C8 Corvettes. Go drive your C8, bro. It's a cool car. Don't listen to anybody. But let's see. The top Corvette has twin-turbo V8. Like, that's insane. Yeah, shout out to Gigalong. But is it the ZR1, the ZL1, or something like that? It's got like 1,000 horsepower. It's supposed to be the new fastest production car, I think. I mean, that thing will melt your face. How is that not a cool car, right? I don't know. Hello from Australia. Shout out to Aussie. Well, shout out to Aussie. We're going to take a look at AI16Z. Let's take a look at this. We actually have not looked at this. We looked at this recently. But yeah, there's not a ton. There's not really a ton that I can do here, to be quite honest. What I can do is pull up the visible range volume profile. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Yeah, it's not. It's really not a ton that I can do here. I could pull up some significant NPOCs. Got a monthly right here. You got a monthly right here. And you got a monthly right here. You got a weekly right here. You got a... Come on. Whoops. Okay, so you got a weekly here. Now I messed it up. Let's see here. Monthly MPOC. Okay, so now we got weekly MPOC. Weekly MPOC. Okay. Now let's pull up the dailies. Dailies are kind of all over the place, to be honest. These are... Got one here. Got one here. And you got one down here. Yeah, these are, honestly, the dailies are kind of everywhere. All right, so I'm going to mark out these for now. Yeah, honestly, the dailies are kind of... Let me just separate these real quick. Dailies. I'm just going to hide the dailies for now. Look at the significant higher time frame MPOCs. So if we pull our fixed range here over this little value area that we have, I'm going to draw this as a volume profile. Man, I got to change these horizontal lines, these horizontal rays to the color that I want. Bada boom. Okay, so this 8-hour look like? How much information do we have on the 8-hour? Let's pull up market site for B real quick. Yeah, I'll be honest. Kind of the same thing here. If we get, right, so you got the drop below the volume profile, right? Deviate above the high, get stuck back in the range, back to the value area low, deviate below. If you cannot reclaim sooner than later and you get the bigger drop to the downside, I cannot unsee these 8-hour momentum waves. Looking to potentially form bullish divergences. If we get the drop down to this weekly MPOC, this would be a big level to look at. And not only that, but I would look for an 8-hour bullish divergence to give me the confidence that there is a high probability of a bounce there. I wouldn't enter the trade, like I said previously, based off that alone, but it would give me the confidence that you could at least get a bounce back up, potentially to your value area low. So key level of support, 18.1863 at that weekly MPOC. You could actually look at this as a zone. You have the daily and the weekly here between about 18 to 17 cents. So if you get the drop down first, you do have local support here as well. Actually, locally, I'll give you the local support levels as well. Nice confluence on the golden pocket daily MPOC. 786 daily MPOC. There's your two local levels of support, right? So if you're not going to go down, take the low, put in the 8-hour bull div before the big bounce, these would be the first two levels that you would want to look for a bounce at. Now, if we look at money flow, let's take a look at the daily. Daily green dot is confirmed. Money flow trying to come up. Let's check the 2-day. Money flow VWAP trying to come up. Let's check the 4-hour red dot. So yeah, local levels of support between 21 and 20 cents. Golden pocket daily MPOC, 786 daily MPOC. Lose that, I'd be looking for the larger context here of that larger 8-hour bullish divergence. So if you don't get the higher low for the continuation of the uptrend, I would look for the 8-hour bull div down here. Simply put, I'm just going to give that one away. That is exactly what I would look for. I would love to see, right, if you do come down, get the bounce off the golden pocket 786 zone with money flow crossing over into the green on the 4-hour. That would indicate that the trend is likely to continue to the upside. Once you lose the 786, again, I would look for that larger context of the 8-hour bull div. I'm going to leave that right there. If you want to screenshot these key levels, you can. That's what I would be looking at locally for AI16Z. So there we go. Let's see. What do you think about a 2008 911 Turbo? Shout out to Vegas Call. 911 Turbos are dope. I'll be honest. If there's a car that I don't love, or cars that I don't love, I'm not a big Mercedes guy. Like, even the cool Mercedes, I'm not a big, they have the goated interior, right? There's no interior like a Mercedes, I'll say that, right? They got the ambient lighting is fire. I'm a big LED guy, as you guys can see. They got nice interior. I'm not a huge fan of Mercedes. I know they're cool cars. I'm just not a huge fan of them. I don't like the way they look that much. I don't know. I'm always underwhelmed by Mercedes. BMWs, anything shy of like an M4 or an M3 competition. I don't even really love the looks of those either. It's a cool car, though. Very cool car performance-wise. I don't love the looks of them. BMW, Mercedes, and Porsche. Porsches are cool. GT3 RS, insane, right? Insane car. Those are probably the only ones that I like. Porsches, Porsches are cool. They're just not my taste. Shout out to Panty Hamster. We got Panty Hamster in the chat. Let's go. Shout out to Panty Hamster. Good to see you in here, bro. I'm with you, Frankie. BMW, let's go. Shout out to Pose. Yeah, I mean, listen, the M3s, they're cool. They sound cool. They're fast. They got turbos. They're dope. I just think they're underwhelming on the outside, especially if you're going to charge 6 figures for a car like that. It's got to look like it's got to be a head turner, and it's only really a head turner for car guys, right? And then you look at something that looks like a C8 Corvette that starts at 60 grand. It's like, that's why, C8's like such good value. Maserati, let's go. Shout out to Panty Hamster. Jesse says Mitsubishi GTR. Or wait, GLR? Oh, no, he did say GTR. Shout out to All Set. Or I'm sorry, no, shout out to Jesse. Jesse Bishop, not to be confused with Jesse, are like police. BMW has lost their way. They got to go for golden era Beamers. Yeah, 2000 to 2010. I agree. I think those are much nicer looking. How do you set up the visible range volume profile so where it is to the left side of the range, you're looking to find the POC, or does anyone in chat know? Shout out to Silosis. Hopefully I said that right. This is a fixed range volume profile, not to be confused with the visible range volume profile. Visible range is slightly different. I have videos on my channel explaining all of these in great detail, and how I use them, how I have my custom settings. But visible range analyzes the volume within the visible candles on the chart. This is taking into consideration all the visible candles. If I zoom out, you'll see, well, it's kind of hard to do on AI16E. If we just pull it on Bitcoin real quick, right? So if I zoom in here, come on, volume. There we go. Right. So right now it's analyzing the volume of all the candles visible on the chart. If I zoom in to only show these candles, now the volume will change because it's only analyzing the visible candles, right? If I zoom out all the way, now it's going to take all these candles into the calculation, and you'll see the volume pop up. So that is the visible, and that all happens automatically, right? So that's the visible range volume profile. In my opinion, a good way to identify big key levels in the market, high volume nodes with low volume gaps. This is part of the reason why we knew that we were going to very likely get a fast, come on, volume. This is part of the reason why we anticipated a very fast drop when we were ranging around up here. One of the reasons that even in January I was saying that we could get a big drop down to 80 to 75K was because we had this massive low volume gap down here. We knew once we got down there and we broke this level, we would probably see a very fast drop through that low volume gap. That is what I like to see use the visible range for, right? The fixed range selects an area on the chart to analyze the volume at, right? So this lets me select a range of price action, and it will only show me the volume within that given range. This is fixed. The visible range is dynamic when you move through the chart. This will always stay the same. I use this to identify balanced areas in the market. This is why when we trade the volume profiles, we look for shorts at the highs, for rotations back down towards the low, back to the high, back to the low, back to the high, back to the low, right? That's where we are looking to trade the areas of balance, right? If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Check out all of the content on my channel. It's a free trading course. Literally, I will tell you this. There is enough content on this channel, guys, that if you go back and sort the videos from oldest to newest, maybe don't watch the first ones. The first ones are rough, guys. The first ones are rough. I was not used to being on camera. The TA still works, but yeah, maybe skip the first couple of videos. But anyway, if you sort from oldest to newest, guys, and you run through every single tutorial video that I've dropped, you can go from literally knowing nothing about the charts. If you want to expedite that process, just check out our beginner series. It's a playlist with all the newer videos. But if you really put in the time to watch through all those videos, you will go from knowing absolutely nothing about the charts to being able to identify not only do TA on the chart, find key levels, but also be able to find trade setups in high probability areas where price will reject or bounce, and it'll know what confirmations to look for. It'll bring you from zero to hero on the charts. Are you going to take the, it's really going to come down to the people who really want to take that time and look at those videos and be like, this is going to take me forever, right? But you have to put in the work, right? And again, you could expedite that process by looking at the beginner series. It's a little bit more updated and it's more organized. But again, there's a lot of sauce that we have not recreated yet in new videos that are very valuable. So, yeah, if you're new here and you do not know anything about what we're looking at with the volume and how we get these high probability trade setups, just watch through the video, watch through the channel. It's all free, right? So there you go. But anyway, yeah, Bitcoin. Let's check back in on Bitcoin real quick here. And she's just, oh man, she's just clinging to that value area high, guys. She's just stuck there. 12-minute money flow coming out, 15-minute money flow coming up. Yeah. We got to get above this value area high. Every time we get above it, we fake out. Insane. Let's see. Shout out to Mr. 420. Said, hey, Frankie, do you see a higher all-time high? Shout out to Mr. 420. I do think, if you're asking me if I think the bear market, like the top, if I think the top is in at 112K, I don't personally fall into that camp right now. Same thing is down here. I do think we will see higher prices on Bitcoin. Does that mean that we're going to get it instantly? No. Are you probably going to have to be patient? Could it be very scary before it happens? Probably. But again, patience is key. I don't really see a reason to be calling for the bear market. If that's your question, Mr. 420, good to see you in here. Shout out to you. Shout out to Aussie. Said, which level do we need to have the daily close today to be bullish? I mean, listen, a daily close above this value area high would be nice. But I don't know. To be honest, you could close your daily candle down here, right, and then push back above it, right? You could close your candle up here and then push back down below it. I would like a daily close above here, but you could even see here, right? Like, you close above, you go back down. So, I mean, I would say, for what it's worth, closing a daily candle above the value area high at 105,742 would be nice. I don't know if it'll guarantee that we're going to get the move up. But, yeah, I mean, that would be nice to see. But to be honest with you, me personally, what I would be looking at is just value area high from a context standpoint is the biggest key level. Green dot printing on the daily would be really nice to see. If you close the daily candle, what do we have? Yeah, we got 25 minutes. If you close that daily candle above the value area high with the green dot printing on your daily time frame, 90-minute money flow continues into the green. That is really what I would look at, right? Like if you can get that money flow to continue up with that daily green dot, get above the value area high. That's because what is that doing? That's making you anticipate the continuation of the trend. Show this all the time, right? This is one of the simplest and easiest strategies you can use on Market Cypher to get a let's grab a vertical line here. So if I mark out this money flow crossover on the 90-minute, I'm going to come back over to the daily. I'll even hide the TA here to make it a little cleaner. I don't know if this is going to be, I can't hide the TA because I can't see the vertical line. Yeah, you can see that 90-minute money flow crossover was confluent with a green dot here on the daily. Green dot prints. 90-minute crosses over into the green, right? You have resistance above, right? But that 90-minute money flow crossover, you come in, you get rejected, you come back up, you come down. But that overall trend to the upside does continue with that 90-minute money flow. Money flow comes up. Overall trend continues to the upside. That is the hope, right, for the bullish case, right? And then if we didn't bring this back to any other 90-minute money flow crossover. It's not every single one, but you can see another 90-minute money flow crossover right here, daily. I have a tutorial video on how to use this. Yeah, same thing, right? Right on that daily green dot, almost exactly on that green dot. Green dot prints, and if I show this in bar replay mode, it's a little bit cleaner. Right, your daily green dot prints, boop, come on down to the 90-minute. What's your 90-minute money flow doing? Well, hey, that money flow is coming up. You can anticipate, potentially, once that money flow crosses into the green, right? We look at this in real time all the time, but just to show this in bar replay mode, how it happens, to watch it happen, your green dot's printing. You're saying to yourself, if that 90-minute money flow crosses into the green and we could stay above this point of control, that might give us the continuation of the trend to the upside, potentially targeting the value area high, right? Eventually, money flow crosses into the green, and you get a continuation to the upside. Simply put, right? And eventually, we did get up to that. Eventually, we did get up to the value area high, right? So, using the volume profile as your very high probability targets, and using those levels because the volume profile doesn't just give you support and resistance, right? It gives you context to the level. Sure, this is a level of resistance, but as we approach from the value area low, you know that's a high probability target, but you also know once you flip that, the higher probability target is the value area high. And when you get that in confluence with something like your 90-minute money flow crossing into the green, that's where you start to see high probability moves, right? So using this all together, the volume profile is your guide, your blueprint for price, and then money flow is your confirmation to let you know if that move is going to happen, right? And you can also use Market Cypher for the entry triggers, etc. But yeah, so, at this point, right, let's apply this, right? That was 2 examples, right? Maybe even this one. Maybe let's see this 90-minute money flow crossover. All right, we're going late tonight, guys. We're going late. But we're going to dish some free sauce. Take a look at the daily. Ooh. Okay, so you got a little fake out here. I would argue that if price didn't move so aggressively, you probably would have gotten a green dot here. So this one, technically, there's no green dot. But at the end of the day, I would say that still is somewhat similar because you just kind of front ran that green dot on the daily. And I don't think you ever got it. You just kind of, price did this VWAP just whipped up. But that's going to be hard to like front run, especially as a new trader. But we could go to any random point in the chart. I'm going to click random bar. I don't know where we are. We're at $16,000. Let's find something. I don't want to go through things that I'm just going to cherry pick something here. But honestly, go back and back test this, right? You got to put the time in to give yourself confidence on what you're doing, right? So you have the 90-minute money flow about to cross over into the green right there. Daily green dot is printing, right? Just go back test it. Eerily enough, every time you see those money flow crossovers on the 90-minute or money flow coming up on the 90-minute, if you have that green dot high probability, continuation of the upside. And obviously, we know what happens here because we just cherry-picked this. But I didn't know there was going to be a green dot confluent. But, right, you have the green dot printing. You might be saying, I don't know what the key level or the context would have been here. Maybe you're looking at a volume profile, and you're saying, well, hey, maybe that 90-minute money flow crossing over into the green could give me a high probability move into the value area high, right? 90-minute money flow crosses over into the green. And remember, it's about the trend, right? It's not that you can't come down. It's not an instant up situation. The green and red dots indicate the ebbs and flows. The ebbs and flows in the market. Ebb, flow, ebb, flow, ebb, flow, ebb. Trend. Money flow indicates the trend. Red and green dots indicate the ebbs and flows. Simply put. And that's how you can kind of use these things in confluence, right? Now, again, I wouldn't just enter based off that. I used to. And to be honest, understanding what I was doing now, I see why it was such a high probability situation, right? Before I did more advanced TA, right, and I had more advanced strategies, before I understood liquidity, before I understood the volume profiles, I would just trade, seeing a green dot on the daily and looking for the 90-minute money flow crossover, and just taking the trade, anticipating the money flow crossover, and more often than not, I would wind up in profit, right? Now, again, I don't trade like that anymore, but it is a simple way to try to anticipate direction in the market. That's how I use it now. You get to see how high probability that is. And you could use this on many different time frames. The 4-hour, 15-minute, the daily, the 90-minute, all different time frames. I would argue this too, right? I would assume, maybe, let's go back. Take a look at the daily. Look at that. Green dot was printing. Right, you don't have a bull div here. I would have loved a bull div there. But you have the green dot printing. 90-minute money flow is about to cross over into the green. As you are flipping that POC to support, you can say to yourself, potentially, let's just say you see price at that POC, right? Stop loss below the low, targeting the value area high. The trend does indeed continue to the upside, right? And again, we're in bar replay mode, but the strategy stays true, right? This actually did happen in the market, right? You could look at this in real time, and we do look at it in real time every single day, but just to kind of show how well this stuff plays out time and time and time and time and time again, I highly recommend go back on bar replay mode. Drop some demo trades. Drop a demo trade, right? And it'll track, right? Just go back, see how often it plays out. It's not going to play out every single time, I'll tell you that much. I'd like to find a, I would like to run into a, you could argue that this one didn't really play out. This was kind of a bad signal, right? I mean, you don't know, do we have the daily green dot here, right? You see money flow cross into the green. You got one more high and then a bigger dump. Technically, you did continue the uptrend, but let's see if we have the daily green dot here. Maybe we did. Maybe we didn't. And no, right? You have a green dot, but it's not confluent. It's not confluent with that. It's not happening at the same time as that money flow crossover. And what happens? It doesn't play out very well, right? You get one more high, and then it dumps. So go back and backtest this stuff, guys. Shout out to Market Cypher. It's like money flow is one of the best indicators you could possibly use. So there you go. Go backtest it. Give yourself confidence in what you're looking at. And then finally, you could drop some money into a trading account and start making money trading Bitcoin, whether price goes up or down. But, guys, hopefully we can hold. Hopefully we reclaim that value area high. But until we flip this to support and break back into this value area, guys, that's where I would expect the bigger move up. But even if we do get that, I will be looking at it with caution on the golden pocket and the 786 confluence that we have here. If you don't know what I'm talking about, scrub to the beginning of the stream. We covered it at first right when we started. Going to be very careful if we get the move up around these levels. Until then, I'm going to chill in my short. If we get the dump to the downside, great. We'll keep making money. If we get stopped out in profit, we'll look for that next position. And hopefully, if we get the move down, we can find a new long position as well. Because right now, I'm only covered short, which is still in profit here. Let's see. What are we doing? Should be like the same. Yeah, up $1,750 unrealized, $1,800 locked in. Might lock a little bit in. I'm going to keep an eye out here on the charts at the end of the stream, but we'll see. Maybe if maybe I'll lock in some more profit here. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, guys. At the end of the day, the trend right now, high, low, lower, high, lower, low. This could be a lower high. It is a local Fibonacci retracement. If we continue up, there are two other key levels where we could put in lower highs. This golden pocket, this 786. Again, scrub back if you don't know what I'm talking about. Watch the beginning of the stream. It's not until really we get above $110,000, $110,100, where I would be anticipating all-time highs. Until then, we do have to be careful of maybe this being the lower high on the Fibonacci retracement. If not, next high probability zone would be sitting right here between about 108.5 and 110,100. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Spiritual. Shout out to I can never see this full name. Shout out to Spiritual Tradie. I don't know that full name. It won't show it to me. Hang on. How do I pull this up? I think it's like, is it? Oh, man. Hang on. Okay. I think it's like Spiritual Tradie Podcast. Is that what it is? Shout out to Spiritual. I appreciate you. He said, I'm still rainbow for you, Frankie. My wife hates it. Shout out to Spiritual. I love you back, bro. I love you back. I love you back. Oh, God, if anybody knows that reference. But shout out to Spiritual. I appreciate you, bro. Tell your wife I said what's up. And, shout out to Infinite. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. I did not see that. Shout out to Infinite. If you're still in here, bro, Infinite Team TA, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for gifting those 5 Frankie Candles memberships. And shout out to Spiritual Tradie. Appreciate you, bro, and I love you back. Tell your wife I said what's good. But anyway, not in a weird way. That sounded weird. That sounded disrespectful. Shout out to Spiritual. You know I didn't mean it like that. But, guys, with all that being said, I think that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys for hanging out with us here for a little bit of a longer stream tonight. But I had to skip yesterday, so I had to drop a little extra sauce for you guys. But yeah, shout out to Sam Cam. Shout out to Drop It. I'm going to short from 106, 500. Stop loss at break even. Shout out to Sam Cam. That's the way we do it, baby. Shout out to you, man. But thank you guys for being here. I appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in and spending your precious time here with the Candle Mafia. Pray. If you want more moves to the upside, pray we get above that value area high. But you guys know my full plan now. If you're just tuned in, scrub back to the beginning of the stream. And with all that being said, I will see you guys tomorrow, same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. I'll see the premium members in the Discord. Frankie Candles out. Stream deck's lagging. Bing bong!
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
This one's for Wick 589. Shout out to Wick589 and shout out to Crypto Billy said sus man. Shout out to Crypto Billy. Shout out to the CandleMafia. I'll see you guys tomorrow. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the roll.